This is the iPhone 17e. It's Apple's next version of their iPhone E series, and they finally made the improvements that I wanted in the 16e while keeping it at the same $599 price point. So let's talk about it. This is the iPhone 17e, and the design here is almost exactly the same as the 16e with its 6.1-inch OLED Super Retina XDR display at 60 Hz. You've got its aluminum body. This one is the new soft pink color, and it still has the customizable action button on the side. You have a subtle but important design improvement here. Ceramic Shield 2 makes this 3 times more scratch resistant, and it has an anti-reflective coating for 33% less reflection, so it gets the same level of protection as the current iPhone lineup. Now, it still has that notch. That is not going away for any time soon for this E lineup. It features an A19 chip that's similar to the one found in the iPhone 17, and it's still a 6-core CPU, but it comes with a 4-core GPU instead of a 5-core GPU like the iPhone 17, so it takes a little bit of a hit there with graphics performance, mostly if you're handling more intensive games, but I do think that the customer who's considering this phone, they won't feel that at all. And I'm not going to benchmark this iPhone because why? I think there's nothing that this phone does that screams it's a poor performing phone while using it. It's great. And it still has a 48 megapixel fusion camera on the rear with a 2x telephoto, and photos still look great on this phone. You just don't have some of the versatility like, let's say, a second ultra-wide camera or better optical zoom like the higher level iPhones do. But with the A19 chip, it can take advantage of Apple's improved image pipeline for better portrait photos compared to the 16e. So that gives you cleaner and better bokeh effect, right? More separation, and you can adjust the focus point with depth control after you take the shot. Now, for me, the two biggest improvements, first, Apple is finally bringing MagSafe to the 17e. It was my biggest complaint about the 16e. It just seemed like it was a must-have ecosystem signature feature, especially at its $599 price point last year. And honestly, did they just not do it before so they could make it a new feature for the 17e? I don't know, but it's here now for the 17e, so it works with MagSafe cases and accessories like the MagSafe wallet, and you can also rock the crossbody strap, which is another accessory with it as well. The 16e did support wireless charging at 7.5 watts with no MagSafe. The 17e now does 15 watts wireless charging with MagSafe when using a 20-watt power adapter or higher, and that also enables it to work with any MagSafe or Qi 2 chargers and docks. Now, the other big feature for me, they have now doubled the base storage while keeping it at the same exact price. So it now starts with 256 gigs of storage for the 17e instead of the previous 128 gigs, while keeping this still at the same $599 price point. And you can configure it to go up to 512 gigs. Now, the 17e also has 8 gigs of memory. That's not really a surprise, and that allows it to meet the requirement for Apple Intelligence features, but they don't bump it up any, and Apple Intelligence, hey, we're still waiting for it to come together. Connectivity-wise, it gets Apple's C1X modem for twice as fast performance compared to the 16e that had the original C1 modem, but those are all the significant upgrades made to the iPhone 17e. For me, using this phone, it's just as solid as you'd expect. I generally think, right, I'm a whole lot happier with the updates that they made to the 17e versus the 16e, and it's just a significantly more compelling entry-level iPhone because in reality, the iPhone 17e is all my mama needs, but you know what phone she got when it was time for her to upgrade? The iPhone 16 Pro at the time, because she wanted the best cameras. You can do what you want to do, but content here, I think it still looks great on this phone when you're watching movies. 60 Hz display, Dolby Vision, that's all you need. The experience is still an iPhone, and even if I'm not the customer for this phone, they made upgrades that I wanted to originally see in the 16e. It's what I criticized them for before. They've now put them in here, and it's a great entry point for someone who wants to be in the Apple ecosystem or someone who doesn't need all the bells and whistles. Now, just to look at the overall industry, you have a phone like Google's Pixel 10a that from a spec standpoint does a little more for me with its 6.3-inch display. It's got a dual camera system with an ultra-wide and significantly better Gemini capabilities, but also only has a max capacity option of 256 gigs for a $599 price point as well. So ultimately, it's the ecosystem that dominates the majority of tech decisions that we make. Competitors continue to improve theirs, but Apple still does have the best ecosystem, and the iPhone 17e is part of that ecosystem. Now, the iPhone 17e comes in black and white, and this new soft pink color, which will also look like a nice match to that blush color MacBook Neo. I'm just saying. But the 17e, it is $599 for the 256 gig model, and then $799 for the 512 gig model, which this is. And you can pre-order now, and it'll be available on March the 11th. But I think it's a solid upgrade for someone who is still using an iPhone SE, maybe even someone who as far back as the iPhone 11 or iPhone 12. I think this bump up in storage and MagSafe now make me feel just a lot better about its feature set at its price point compared to the 16e at the time. Now, this review is short and sweet, it's to the point, so I'd love to hear what you all think about it. Are you in the market for a 17e? Did Apple do enough with this upgrade for you or not? Put in the comments, and hey, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Peace and love.